please hit the subscribe button for more content.
Hi there, welcome to this video from racingbetdata.com. It's Chris here. Apologies, we've not released the video for a few weeks now, mostly because resource has been tied up doing back of house maintenance and upkeep, which should lead to an improvement in your user experience. You're probably not necessarily going to be able to see and grab it and feel it when you're on the site, but essentially it should mean that our FBD data is available earlier than before. Typically, it's been made available, for the last 15 years at least, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Porting everything over to a new dedicated server means that we should be able to get that data released to you by 3 a.m. every day, even on weekends, maybe a little bit later on weekends, based on the sheer amount of games that the score prediction software has to iterate through. But certainly during the week, that FBD update should be available a lot earlier in the day to you. And the knock on from that is that RBD has then its own space on its own server, which means that that should be a slicker process as well. Not that we normally get many errors with that. So good news in terms of we're almost done with that. But it's been a bit of a slog. So yeah, there's been a bit lack of updates in terms of videos. During that time, we have had a lot of inquiries and interest and comments, feedback, messages, emails, etc. A lot around system creation, people looking at our videos, and generally the feel is that people are understanding and following them, which is really good, and generating ideas, and that is exactly the intention of those videos. There are a few people who are not getting it, essentially, to put it bluntly. They are trying to replicate or follow and do exactly as we're showing in the video and missing the point entirely. The videos are done as a demonstration purpose, showing you how you can use our outputs, how you can use our data, and to get you thinking outside the box in terms of how you can create, simulate, test, backfill, and then take forwards into a development stage. People getting a bit too hung up on trying to copy what we're showing you, where we try and make it clear in those videos that this is not a come and do exactly as we're showing here and you'll get these results, because nothing is guaranteed, and we're using sample data most of the time to demonstrate to you. So one thing I would urge, and if you can take just one thing from this video and any of our videos, is to use what we're seeing and look for the underlying message in there. Do not try and focus too much on the specific data, because that is almost irrelevant. It's being used for demonstration purposes. We're trying to give you the tools and show you how you can get your analytical skills aligned, be more methodical with your approach, use everything that we're offering. So we've added in like the t-test, the p-value to assist you, but you've got to understand how that works. So I'm not going to go into a whole new video today on t-test and p-value. There's plenty on the internet for you to understand, but the simple message is, just because a value is good in the past on backfitted data doesn't transfer into a successful system. You need to be getting a good p-value on a system that you have either tested, paper traded, or very, very small stakes, and then that'll give you the confidence. If you're sat there, you've fiddled around the dashboard and you've come up with a p-value and think, wow, that's brilliant, that's a really good score, good t-test score, I'm going to jump head first in with this system, that's destined to fail, because you've backfitted that data accordingly to generate that positive looking p-value and t-test score. So that's fine if you can do that and you think you found something, but you then need to go through the testing phase as well. And depending on the number of selections, that will depend how long that takes, or how long you have to run it through that test phase before you have that confidence level to deploy that as a successful system. So I've digressed slightly, but a couple of important messages there for you. So what we're going to do today is look at data extraction and a few simple tips in Excel. I'm going to go to the data dashboard. So for anybody not familiar, This is the engine room of the website where basically our database sits in behind this, and the data dashboard is a means allowing you to extract that data in a layout that suits yourself, or filtered to suit yourself. So you have many options on here. You can have a date picker. So this is if you just wanted to look at a certain date and time, that's the best means to do that. You can manage your selection. So if you wanted to quickly recall your set of criteria, you can go into the Manage Selections panel, and that allows you to create, amend, delete, and deploy your set of criteria that you wanted. So you don't have to go back in every day and do all of your ticking and unticking of boxes to generate your homed output. But for today, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to touch any of these filters. These are all here, like I said, for you, for if you wanted to create your own systems and recall them, and have 4, 5, 6, 7. Some members have over 30 on there. There's no limit to the amount you can save. Obviously, if you have a good naming convention, that will make it easier. But what I'm going to do is show you the importance of our data, how to export it into Excel, and the ongoing maintenance, which is the critical part here. So I've spoken already about, we're drawing a line in the sand as of today's date, and you're looking back on that data. That is fine, but you can't stop there. You need to continually look ahead, and that is adding new data every day, or even every week, or monthly if you wanted to do it that way. But the importance of keeping that data up to date and seeing if trends change, if things that you've spotted, if they're moving in a different direction, or indeed if they're still giving the same signal that you expect it to do. So that is the importance of the ongoing data. So what I'm going to do is just do a simple export here. I'm going to show you how to do it. So I'm not touching any of these filters. I'm leaving them all as default, which essentially is just saying unfiltered data. I'm going to go through and export the last couple of years worth of data. Now, with Excel, some people still use older versions of Excel where there's a limit of 65,400 rows. So we have capped the amount of rows that you can export in one go to 60,000, purely because if we had that higher, it would crash some people's versions of Excel, older versions of Excel. Also, anybody on a slower or older machine, it's likely to give them lag if they're trying to export more than 60,000 rows. So we've capped it at 60,000. Like I said, the problem is if we had that uncapped, people would try and export millions in one hit, and it would just freeze their machine up and potentially freeze our servers up. So that's the reason why there's a cap on there. But I'm going to export the first 3 months of 2024 unfiltered. I'm going to export these to Excel. I'm going to work back through the last couple of years. I'm going to get sort of three years worth of data. I'm going to combine them into an Excel spreadsheet, and I'll pick this video back up once I've gone through knitting those data exports together. Okay, so what I have here is data for the last 3.5 years or so out of the RBD dashboard. It's sorted chronologically right through until the 16th of March 2024, and these races are not complete. So if you look in here, there's no SP data, there's no place. So these results are not known yet because these races have not been run. Well, they had, but what I've done is I've stripped that data out. So we're actually sat here on the 21st of March. So what I've done is just take out these races going back the last couple of days, and everything before then, so 15th of March prior, is populated with all the data out of the dashboard. So we're using the 16th just to have a look at how we can analyze the data for those races, assuming they've not been completed. So this comes on to a point that I'm going to make. So I did say about the T testing. Now, if you don't have the time or the patience, which is a key art in itself, to test forwards for several months until you're confident with your data, what you can do is you can test against even or odd months and then trial against the opposite. So say, for instance, you are looking at creating a system or strategy. You can use historic data, as we have here, but you can eliminate all the even months. So you can use January, March, May, July, etc. And to derive your system or your strategy, whether it's trading, whether it's laying, whether it's backing in play before the off. Obviously, all of our data contains the odds and the parameters that you need to do your analysis. So whatever your strategy is, you can derive it on the odd months of the year, going back sort of 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, however many years you want to go back. And then you can test it against the even months. So say, for instance, you've created a system based on our pace rating using the odd months in the year, and it's showing a profit month on month over a 3-year period of time. It's giving you a good P score through your T test, and you don't want to wait several months to deploy it. You could then test that against the even months. So you've not contaminated that data. There's no danger of backfitting or backfilling when you've been creating that strategy. You've used pure data, which, if you're doing, the reason I say to do every other month, the odd months, is you cannot be accused of any seasonality being at play there. So if you were to say use the first 6 months of the year compared to the last 6 months, there could be some seasonal trends that affect the results. So you could get some bias in there. But I think doing every other month, and the same with days of the week, is worth saying as well. So if you excluded Saturdays and Sundays, for instance, and derived your system Monday to Friday, you may get different results on the Saturday, Sunday because of the meetings, the different types of racing, the prize money at stake, all of those factors. So I think combining it, so you've got full months, but you've got even ones spaced out every other month throughout the year. You could then do your testing when you're testing against the even months, and if you're getting positive results there, based on that strategy, run that through your t-test model and see what the score is. And you can use that as a jump start, if you like. You would still need to do a period of testing, but it would give you that additional layer of confidence that you have created a system based on one set of criteria, you've tested it against another, and it's showing positive in both. And then you can go forward and look to deploy that out into the open. So that's almost a way of you've created a model, if you like, based on criteria X, and then you've been able to test it on criteria Y. Now, it just so happens that criteria Y is historic data, but it's historic data that was not in your original data set when you were doing that creation. So that's the key element to point out there. However, anyway, again, I've digressed slightly. I'm just going to show you how you can create a very simple analysis using these outputs. So I've got 3.5 years worth of outputs here. I'm going to open up another tab, and the very simple way to do it is to create a pivot table. Now, there are things as power pivots. There's all sorts of additional Excel capabilities, power charts. You can use Power Query. There's all sorts of functionality in there now that will allow you to deeper dive into the data. Now, I'm conscious that a lot of users probably are not Excel savvy, and certainly not in terms of the more sophisticated data science tools that are built in there. So we're going to keep it relatively simple, and something that even if you're not familiar with a pivot table, you'll be able to watch this video and should be able to understand and replicate what we're doing. So I've selected the full data range first and foremost, and that gives us our little report table here. Now I'm going to select tracks. So one thing to consider is that a system cannot be overlapped against all tracks and expect it to perform the same way. So tracks, they have different ground types for a start. Some are run over turf, some are run over weather tracks, poly tracks. Some are different distances. There's sprints and there's long distance racing. Some are run out of stalls, some are combined, some run out of stalls and some don't. But there's all different factors. So the message in essence is it's going to be very difficult for you to derive, or let's say impossible, not talking about our data, but in the world of horse racing, for you to generate a one-size-fits-all system that you can apply to a 6-furlong race at Lingfield compared to a 3-mile race over Aintree. You're going to be looking at apples and oranges there. So you need to treat each one individually. So you do need that element of data analysis going into it. So we're putting track at the top there as our filter control. Then we're going to look at the Betfair rank. across the top. So that shows you the ranking of the horse based on the Betfair starting price. And down the side, let's put in the stall. Stall down the side there. Okay. Now, not every track is going to have a stall, so we're going to have a look and see what racing was on the 16th. So we have Kempton, not run out of stalls. This is blank. You can see here. We've got Southall, Thurleston, Uttoxeter, and Wolverhampton. So let's go with Wolverhampton and select the track from the header there, Wolverhampton. So then we've got down the side the stalls 1 to 13, across the top the rank. Now you can change this if you want, just so it's clear. By far rank, stall number, and then what we're going to do is put in a value. So whether that's industry, Betfair place, whatever it might be, lay odds, lay profit. Let's put in the Betfair place place return. So we're going to look at the place, so you can look at lay and convert all these just to currency. It's easier to see then with the negative. We've already got the pound sign in place. So here we are. So we're now at the stage where we've got something to get our teeth into. Now, again, I'm going to reiterate it. I've said it already once during this video. Please don't go away and think, oh, okay, that video showed me to put rank at the top and stall down the side. Okay, I can do that. And then I can put the value on the side and I can see where there is profitable stalls. This is an example data set showing you I could have picked the pace rating. I could have picked jockey, a number of factors I could put in there, the RBD rank, endless, and I can combine this into more than one pivot table. I'm just showing very top level how you can generate this output. So please do not get hung up on this and go, just because I've shown you, and I don't know what the data is going to show me when I output it, but just because I've shown you, you see here that stall 2 at Wolverhampton historically over the last 3.5 years, if you backed every horse running out of stall 2, you had been £1,800 up. If you backed every horse coming out of stall 9, you would have been £1,900 down, or stall 1. So that's the two you can look at that as stalls right next to each other. One's £1,900 in the hole, one's almost £1,900 up. But I'm just showing you how you can look at this data, okay? So stall 2 profitable over the course of the 3.5 years. Then you can start looking across and seeing, well, okay, is it affecting certain ranks? So you can look down the bottom, see the total. So you can see here that generally the first 7 or so is a, if you backed every one, you would have been £2,500 down. But the top 7, obviously the higher the rank, the higher the odds are going to be. So it only takes a couple of winners at that to skew this figure. But you look at the top 7 or top 8 even out of stall 2, they're all profitable historically, backing horses that have come out of that stall. So that's the historic data. Then what you want to do is test it looking forwards, which is why I've deleted out some of the data from the database. So let's go back to our website and let's go to the date picker and put in the 16th of March and export that to Excel. Okay, so now we've got on this tab the 16th of March data, and on the other we have our table. We've got our main database that we've created, and that's the sort of thing you can do with the data. So we're going to filter this, and we're just going to have a look at Wolverhampton very quickly, where the rank. So let's say the top 8, wasn't it? We were looking at from stall 2, all profitable, and then let's put in the stall. Where are we? All these additional columns you guys want. I can't find the wood for the trees. There we go, stall 2. So on the 16th, there were 5 qualifiers on that day. And the place return, if you look at that, some £81.35. So it was actually a profitable day if you had looked at that, identified that, and followed it. Now, the one thing I didn't do was test that historically. So what I should have probably done there, and what I talked about doing, was looking at the odd, assuming I was going to place money, which I didn't and I haven't. I would need to look at that based on the odd months or the even ones. And if that table that I've looked at here, if that had shown me those results using even months only or odd months only, and I've gone, oh, okay, that looks interesting. And then I'd create a separate tab and I tested this theory against the opposites, the odd months, if I'd originally created against even. That would have given me some confidence to say, okay, well, there looks to be a trend here. Now, can you explain that trend, or is it just a quirk in the data? Is there something about stall 2? Is there something about the favourites or the top rated horses at Wolverhampton? That's where you need to do a bit more digging. I'm looking at top level data here and showing you how you can build a database, which is what we've done here. You can add to that. So with your advanced membership, you can go in each day, export the previous day's results and just paste it onto the bottom, and you're just building up a database of horse results there, and you can just add to it. Even if you don't, if you miss a day, you can go to the website like I've done, go to date picker, export that day's, paste it in, and you can just add to that. So even if you miss a day, you're away or you're busy, tied up, you can go in and export a couple of days at a time and pop them in there. It's really easy to do and keep that database maintained. And then once you've got this database, your central database in Excel, you can just add tabs to it and you can create all of your ideas off the back of this one database. You don't need to be doing multiple exports. You've got your data, you go in, you add to it on a daily, weekly basis, and you just keep maintaining that. And then when you've got your new ideas, you name this this tab, store by rank, and that's where you start looking at your ideas and testing it. And there's no rush to get involved, right? You don't need to go rushing away and going onto the Betfair exchange and thinking, right, Christ, there's a horse running there. It's third ranked. It's coming out of stall 2. I need to get some money on it. Just monitor it and see how it performs. Test it using the t-test. We've got the free statistical relevance tool on our website. I'm going to show you where it is on the example downloads. It's there for you. Statistical relevance, you pop it in. I've shown there's several videos on our channel that show you how to use that. So go ahead, use it, test it, export using the odd months, test using the even months, have a play around, use your pivot tables, do a bit of Googling, have a look around and see if you can get into, if you're an advanced Excel user already, you'll know there's far more sophisticated methods out there that will enable you to build data models off that exported horse racing data. Anyway, I think I've lectured enough. It's good to be back in the seat, so to speak. We are continuing to look at the plausibility around a greyhound site, but to do that we need user support. If the user support isn't there, then it's a non-starter. So we can only gauge the likely popularity of a greyhound site based on football and racing members' feedback, membership levels. And like I said, if we don't deem the interest there, then it becomes a complete non-starter because we have to invest in new servers, we have to invest in the APIs. And like I said, if that doesn't look like it's something that's going to be feasible, then we're just kicking a can along a road and wasting more of our time, which can be deployed on the existing sites. But that's still on the horizon. But what I'd say is encourage you to support the sites, renew your memberships, come and join, support us. It's as cheap as it can be, less than £50 a year for an advanced annual membership, and explore the data and see what patterns you can find.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more useful content.